Here at A-Corp Media, we wanted to create a place where we could talk about politics in a way that promotes civil discourse with truth and respect. We do that right here in the arena. I'm Barry Aycock, your host, and today I'm proud to welcome Malden Police Captain and candidate for Dunklin County Sheriff, Nick Darter. Nick, welcome to the show.
Thanks for having me, Barry. Glad to be here.
Nick, tell us a little bit about yourself, your family, just where you're from.
Well, absolutely. So I'm from New Madrid, born and raised in New Madrid. I was adopted at birth by my parents, James and Melinda Darter, who are from Campbell, Missouri. I grew up in a household with 17 siblings. So I had 17 brothers and sisters.
A lot of mouths to feed there.
A lot of mouths to feed. So my dad graduated from the police academy in 1992, and he went on to work at Mag 7, well, Noranda, which is now Mag 7. He worked there for 42 years, and that's what fed us. That's what fed us and put clothes on our back and a roof over our head. My mom stayed at home. I had brothers and sisters that had special needs, so she took care of them while raising everybody else in the household. I caught myself helping her a lot with my brothers and sisters, and I just always had a desire to serve and to help others when help's needed. I graduated in 2007 from New Madrid. After that, I continued my education, went to Three Rivers Community College, where I got my associate's degree in criminal justice, and I also met my wife, Whitney Darter, of Campbell, Missouri. Me and her settled in Malden, just outside of Malden in 2011, and started our family. She was still in college to be a teacher, which she's now a teacher at Malden, has been going on 8 years now. And we've got two beautiful little girls, Swayze and Eliza. They're growing up, and they keep us busy, extremely busy.
I bet. So does your dad have a big bearing on you? Because I know he works at the courthouse over at New Madrid in your law enforcement background.
He does. I had a lot of respect for my father growing up because he did work, and he was our sole provider for our household. And he always wanted to be a police officer. So in '92, he went and graduated the academy in Cape. And he did it part-time. He filled in, he helped out New Madrid County, New Madrid City, whenever he could, just to help them out. But he had to, you can't feed 17 mouths and be a police officer at the same time.
You can't even get in the courthouse without going through your dad at New Madrid County, right?
Correct.
Nick, you're running to replace Sheriff Bob Holder, who, I don't know how he done it, but I view him as a very popular sheriff over the years.
Absolutely.
It's very hard to stay popular as sheriff when you've been in so long. He served 7 terms. He was elected in 1996. Dunklin County Sheriff, you're running for the first time. That's a hard act to follow. So tell us a little bit about your relationship with Sheriff Holder.
So absolutely. So, he's been in office for going on 30 years. He is a very well-respected gentleman and has held the role as sheriff for 28 years. He's done a phenomenal job in the years that he's been in office. He deserves that time to enjoy his retirement now. He's fulfilled that dedication, that help to the citizens of Dunklin County for 28 years, and hats off to him. He's set the standards pretty high.
Yeah, like I said, he's very popular, and it's hard to do when somebody serves that long. But he's going out at a high approval ratings, if there is such thing.
Yes.
So, but Dunklin County hasn't had a real sheriff's race. I mean, I think Sheriff Holder had a few opponents over the years, but Dunklin County hasn't had a real sheriff's race for a long time. So
correct.
How do you feel about that?
Well, I'm excited. I'm ready. I've spoken to several people within the county, and some people's a little uncertain about what's going on. We haven't had that election in 28 years, a good election. And, some people are uncertain on what to do and who to vote for. And they want to know who the candidates are. They want to know what they're about, what they stand for. And it's a hard road to follow after Sheriff Holder retires.
Well, Nick, it takes a lot of courage to put your name on the ballot. What kind of got you over the hump? What made you feel like this is my time?
So it took a lot of prayers. It took a lot of prayers and a lot of talking with my wife and family. And I feel like God's opened that door for me He's put certain people in my path to put me in that position and get me ready for that position. And like I said, after a lot of prayers and a lot of talkings with my family, I finally decided that this is the time.
What makes Nick Darter the right guy for the job at the right time right now?
So I've been in law enforcement for 14 years. I've been an officer for 14 years. I started off dispatching back in 2007 under Terry Stevens at New Madrid County, just growing up. And over the year and over my lifespan, I've always strived to better myself, educate myself in law enforcement. Laws change every day. You've got to know what's going on and keep up with everything. I've strived to achieve those goals, and I don't settle for anything less.
Nick, as we talked about and discussed, your dad was in law enforcement. Did he make a big impact to you getting into law enforcement?
Yes, he did, Barry. My dad, like I said, he graduated in '92 from the academy, and he did it part-time here and there to help out when he could. I recall one day, I've always wanted to be a police officer, but I recall one day that he come home from work early, and it was odd to me because he was supposed to still be at work. He came home, he was changed, he left. When he got back home, he was covered in mud. And I was curious, so I asked him, and he said they went on a manhunt, and there was a homicide, they had a manhunt, and they found the suspect. Well, my father's the one that found the suspect in the Mississippi River in the swamps. And that from there forward, I said, that's what I'm going to do. That's what I need to do. So, like I said, whenever I turned 17, I started dispatching for New Madrid County, and I was also on the volunteer fire department for New Madrid. And then I left, went to college, and I on and off, I dispatched whenever I could or whenever they needed some help. And I left, went to college, and from my sophomore year in high school, I knew that's what my plans were and that's what my goal was. So I started continuing my education and going, because you can't go to the academy until you turn 21. So I said, in the meantime, I'll go to college. So I got my associate's degree in criminal justice and went to the academy, graduated the academy. My first job was here in Malden. I've been here ever since. I did leave in 2018. I left because when I started, I was making $10.40 an hour as a patrolman. So I didn't do it for the money. I left in 2018. I had both of my girls, had my wife, and my wife's a school teacher. They don't get paid very much neither. I told myself I needed to quit being selfish for myself and help provide for my family as my father did. So I left and I went to Mag 7 and worked at Mag 7, and God opened that door for me to come back to Malden. And I come back to Malden as a captain, and I've been here since 2020. So in totality, I've been in law enforcement for 14 years.
So you've really got to see all facets of law enforcement. You've got that experience from sweeping the floors all the way up to the top.
Absolutely, absolutely.
Nick, what are the main issues facing Dunklin County as far as law enforcement?
You know, everything, like I said earlier, everything changes. Laws change every day. The 2016, the Ferguson incident really put a hurt on law enforcement. It shunned law enforcement. And not everybody's against it, but there was a lot of people jumping on that bandwagon at that time. I'm a human being just as you are. Doctors are human beings just as us. We mess up. People mess up. Not everybody's bad. You've got bad doctors, you've got bad lawyers, you've got bad police officers, you've got bad teachers. I don't think you can hold one person accountable for an entire company or an entire, group of people. And I think that the Ferguson thing hurt us. The COVID thing really hurt us a lot. And, COVID kind of shoved us back inside the police department, and everybody was in fear of getting out and talking to people and communicating with people. And that's what this job is all about.
Well, Nick, you've been in law enforcement for a long time, several years. What are the main changes you've seen in law enforcement over the years?
Well, like I said, I see the Ferguson thing really hurt us. The Ferguson thing, then the George Floyd thing. So I mean, it's a bunch of different aspects of law enforcement. We are held to a higher standard than your average person. And with that being said, every little mistake that we do is criticized 100 times more than what Billy down the street would be criticized for. With that being said, you've got to be held accountable. You've got to know what's going on and how to take care of business when business needs to be taken care of.
So Nick, a big buzzword in the media, you mentioned Ferguson, George Floyd, is defunding the police. Rural police departments have been getting defunded for the last 10 or 20 years. I guess we just haven't called it that. It's a negative connotation. Nobody really wants the police defunded. But how does that make you feel as a police officer, somebody who works in law enforcement? How does that make you feel to hear that?
It makes me feel aggravated. It really turns me away from social media. Social media plays a big role in that, in boosting that word. And I think if you want to see mass chaos in your communities and in your towns, then that's what you're going to see when you start taking money away from the police departments, and you're going to see chaos. I mean, that's about the only word I can use for it. It's going to be, you'll have a civil war on your hands, and then everybody will want the police back, and at that point in time, it's just chaos.
Well, nobody wants them gone, but it sure sounds like it some days.
Sometimes it does. If you watch social media, or if you're on watch the news, and absolutely, they want us gone. They want us our pay cut. Most people that got into law enforcement didn't get into it for the money.
Nick, one last question. If you're lucky enough, skilled enough to win the election for Dunklin County Sheriff, what does that department look like under Nick Darter?
That department looks like a department of integrity. It looks strong. I want criminals to fear coming through Dunklin County. I want to build a relationship with the communities all over Dunklin County. I've put a lot of programs in Malden School District. Being a school resource officer part-time, I have put a lot of effort into my community. I've put a lot of work into my community. I've built a lot of relationships within the citizens of my community. And I feel like God's opened that door for me to broaden that to the whole county. If you want somebody like Sheriff Holder in there who is dedicated, who will listen, and then act on those words, I'll be the man for the job.
Well, Nick, we wish you the best in the upcoming election, and appreciate you coming on the show.
Thanks for having me.
Thank
Yes,
you.
sir.
Nick, we're going to give you the last word to the voters of Dunklin County.
All righty, thank you. Citizens of Dunklin County, if you're ready for somebody that's dedicated, who will give you the time of day just to listen to you, I'm more than a police officer. I'm a person that will listen to your needs, your concerns, and then I will act upon those needs and concerns. I'm a dedicated guy. I've put a lot of time in the city of Malden. I've put a lot of time in the city of Risco. I've put a lot of time in the citizens of Malden. And you can ask them, if you need somebody, you can call upon me any time or day. Thank you. And I'd appreciate your vote on August 6th.
Nick Darter, candidate for Dunklin County Sheriff. Once again, thank you for being here
Barry,
today.
thanks for having me.
Thank you.